So joining us now is retired FBI agent and former chief of the Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, Michael Harrigan. Michael, thanks for staying with us.
Oh, thanks for having me back.
So, Michael, let's talk a little bit more about that. We're looking at this live picture. This is about 20 miles away from where this happened. If you could describe for us what you're seeing in this area, whether it's a shift change, whether it is a staging area of some kind, and also address what Alex Capriello was just talking about, the people in Maine being told terrifyingly to stay at home, to lock their windows and doors. The man who owns this property has no idea what this is going on his property right now, but it is so important, and it makes sense potentially. I would like you to tell us, in a situation like this, for law enforcement to not release even small details as they're conducting this search.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I'm seeing there in front of me is looks like a staging area. Whenever you have these type of large crisis events, you're going to have a command post somewhere where decision makers, communications all come together. This could be a secondary location where closer to the scene, where the shifts come in and out. Because one thing you have to realize is, as these drag on, the SWAT officers, tactical officers, and regular officers are out there. They need to be relieved and get their rest, eat, sleep, because this could go on for an extended period of time. So there's a process in that where they switch off teams after maybe 8, 10, 12 hours. They have a process for that. Now, to address your other comment about communications, crisis communications in law enforcement is a specialized area, and one in which it's critical to put out as much information as you can to allay the public's fears as much as possible, but also to prepare the public, to keep them safe, to keep them sheltered. You got to have that communication. It's a fine line between putting out too much that could alert who you're searching for, put out law enforcement sensitive information, and what is beneficial to the public to know up to that moment.
You know, Card, we know, is armed and dangerous. And in terms of his background, he has firearms training. He has a military background. What tactics will law enforcement be using in his capture that are perhaps unusual, that we don't see in a typical manhunt for an individual who doesn't have this sort of extraordinary background?
Well, it's a factor that goes into the tactical team's mindset, who they're after. The bigger issue is the fact that he has just killed so many people. He is armed and he's dangerous. So it may not change their tactics that much, actually, in going after him, but they're going to have a heightened level of awareness. It raises his level of dangerousness to the community and to the tactical officers. Now, being a firearm instructor can mean various things. I was a firearm instructor for years with the FBI, and there's firearm instructors that know the finer point of instructing how to use firearms, but then there's the tactical side that is more critical in these instances. Is, does he know tactics, and can he use the terrain and other things to his advantage?
We know he previously made that threat against a National Guard facility, that he was brought in and evaluated by law enforcement in mid-July. He was known to law enforcement. Is this helpful to law enforcement in terms of they already have a profile and extensive interviews with this individual?
It does, because one of the things you do in these instances when they happen is your detectives, your investigators, your analytical personnel are working feverishly behind the scenes to pull together information to give the teams on the ground a better picture of this person. They want to know what kind of weapons he has. They're going to want to know about his training. As much as they can provide the actual, tactical officers at the tip of the spear out there in the field, the better prepared they will be. So as time goes on, they're going to gather more information, and they'll get a much better picture of this person's, profile, or how they're thinking, maybe how they act. And one critical point of that is, who is he related to? Who are his friends, associates? Is he communicating with them now? Has he communicated with them? And would that give any indication of where he may go, or what he might be looking at as an end game? He may have written some of that down. He may have communicated some of that over social media or verbally to friends and family in the past. And that's going to be something that has to be pulled together so you have a better picture of what his intent is and ultimately where he might be going. That's what they want to know.
And very quickly, Mike, can you help us understand, this is an extraordinarily dangerous situation for law enforcement that is actually on the ground. These people that we're seeing in the tactical gear, carrying the assault rifles, carrying out this search for him. On the one hand, very much they want to find him, but to encounter him potentially a man who doesn't have much left to lose would be an extraordinarily dangerous situation for law enforcement.
Absolutely. And they're going to be extremely careful, methodical. They're going to have numbers on their side, and they're going to use, and all of these tactical type interventions here, there's a lot of preparation, command and control, a lot of communication that goes on between the teams and among the teams to orchestrate how they move, where they move, and the equipment they carry. So that causes them a lot of concern, and we have to think about those officers because just a few hours ago they may have been with their families enjoying some nice time, and all of a sudden now they're out there doing what they're paid to do. But it's one of the most dangerous jobs you can do when you're pursuing somebody who obviously has shown that they have no regard for human life and is willing to kill anybody they come across.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.